Alrighty. Okay, everything seems good. Let me refrigerate. Now, where we left off, Ice Storm, the wiki page. Now, I already went through almost all of it. Okay, here's the contents. We're under gallery on. Actually, no, not gallery. Notable ice storms. Where we left off is around the 2000s, late aughts. So, okay, yeah, this is North American Ice Storm 1998. Now, let's go on to just the 2008 and just make our way to the end from here. Come on. Okay, got it. Okay, this should be good. The northeastern United States was impacted by a major ice storm on December 11th through 12th, 2008, which left about 1.25 million homes and businesses without power. Areas impacted with 3/4 to 1 inch, 19 to 25 millimeters of ice accumulation included eastern New York in the Albany area, central and western Massachusetts, southern New Hampshire, coastal and southern central Maine, Pennsylvania in the Pocono, Pocono, or Pocono Mountains region, northwestern Connecticut, and southern Vermont. Southern New Hampshire and northernmost Massachusetts got hit the worst with the storm, with ice accumulations ranging from 1.5 to 3 inches, 38 to 76 millimeters of ice. This left residents unable to get supplies, go to work, etc., due to the blocked roads from trees that fell on the roads. Any trees that fell quickly took down power poles. It took utility crews from 4 to as many as 16 days to get a look at the damage and start to restore power to nearly 1.2 million people. And all there were 675,000 residents in New Hampshire without power, and around 375,000 in northern Massachusetts. Ugh, I'm getting confused with the numbers right now. In late January 2009, ice storms covered several U.S. states, including Arkansas and Connecticut. No, not Connecticut, Kentucky. Huh. Oh yeah, because I keep on thinking of Ken. But it's Kentucky, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. Most areas affected saw over 2 inches, 51 millimeters of ice accumulation, and between 1 through 5 inches, 25 through 127 millimeters of snow on top of the ice. Ice storm left well over 2 million people without power at its peak and killed 55 people, 35 in Kentucky. Rural water associations in Arkansas and Kentucky activated emergency response plans to deal with power loss to small water utilities across their states. Neighboring state rural water associations include experienced emergency responders from Louisiana and Florida, loan equipment and manpower to assist the hardest hit areas. Let me try to zoom in. I think that will help. Okay, this is 200. Let's go with 180. Okay, yeah. Neighboring state rural water associations, including experienced emergency responders from Louisiana and Florida, loaned equipment and manpower to assist the hardest hit areas. Alright. During the unusual severe winter of 2009 through 10 in Great Britain and Ireland, Heavy snow had fallen over much of the country in late December and early January. By the second week of January, many of the roads and pavements had been cleared by local councils due to the use of rock salt gritting. However, during the early hours of January 12th, a wet front moved across the country, causing freezing rain and heavy ice glaze, particularly in the South and West Yorkshire areas of northern England. Crucially, this rainfall had stopped before first light. When the local population prepared to set out for work and school, they saw from their windows what appeared to be clear roads and pavements, but were in fact treacherous sheets of black ice. So this is what black ice is. Black ice, sometimes called clear ice, is a thin coating of glazed ice on a surface, especially on roads. Roads, 0 Celsius. This ice itself is not black, but usually transparent, allowing this often black road below to be seen through it. The typical low levels of noticeable ice pellets, snow, or sleet surrounding black ice. So that's why it's called black ice. I can't believe they even talked about it in the first paragraph here. It's black ice just because the ice is so transparent that you can only see the black pavement of the road. Therefore, it's the ice in the black pavement. Cars and buses almost immediately encountered extreme difficulty, and emergency services were allowed to dozens of accidents. Pedestrians in the village of Holmfirth found the only safe way to proceed was to crawl on all fours. Accident and emergency units at hospitals in the Sheffield, Rotham, and Barnsley areas found themselves inundated by people with broken bones, fractures, and sprains. And many schools were closed as it was judged unsafe for pupils to attempt to make their way there. Alrighty, now let's go to the last one. On December 25th, 2010, freezing rain fell on Moscow and its vicinity. The glazed ice accumulation caused a number of accidents and power outages, of which the most serious was damage caused to 2 power lines feeding Domodedovo Airport, causing a complete blackout of the airport and express railway that connected it to the city. As a result, the airport was shut down and hundreds of passengers were stranded inside, with taxi drivers charging up to 10,000 rubles, US 330, for a 1-hour drive to the city. Other city airports, Shermentov and Vonokov, pardon my Russian, or pardon my French, which is Russian, where aircraft was rerouted and amid heavy snowfall that followed ice rain, collapsed a day later, causing a full air transport collapse. So yeah, in 2010 that happened in Russia, along with 2009, 2010 was Great Britain. I mean, going to the U.S. standard, let's go to 2009 and 2008, which this shows that these extreme events happened around the late aughts to 2010, and then previously these were in the 90s, and you have some sporadic ones that have. You have one that happened in the 60s, but you also had a few that happened during the 40s, and just one unusual one in 1921. It's interesting because I gotta swear that freezing storms would have been more common during the mini ice age, around what people experienced during the 17th century. But no, it seems like that's an issue that comes with it. It could also be because of how much trouble these storms cause to infrastructure, to people's lives, etc. Just because now, you're affecting a more bigger population, because what is it? After the Industrial Revolution, a lot more people came to exist and a lot more infrastructure is created, which later it's something that people have to maintain. So when it comes to natural disasters, it becomes very, very worse. Where one natural disaster can just really upend uh, people's livelihood in that area. And if it's happening to a big city, you bet sure that it will be a tragedy. So, yeah, that's the scary thing with natural disasters nowadays. Gallery. So, let's look at all these pictures. A tree covered in ice from the December 2008 northeastern United States ice storm. So, it doesn't have the title here, which it always sucks, but this is under the file on what this is saved. Trees with ice JPEG. Which I do believe it's better for uh, just to name description as it is, but it's probably too much, especially the person who just uploaded this. So, oh well. Yeah, there's also the file and stuff. So, I click it once they finish the stream. But yeah, this is just covering up the sign. It's just ice. Well, now on to this. A street in Elor, Ontario, Canada after an ice storm sometime between 1900 and 1919. So, yeah, a street in Elor, Ontario after an ice storm early 1900s. Yeah, JPEG. Yeah, the title is pretty accurate. After all, it's the title and how this is organized. But yeah, the telephone poles weren't that weather resistant back then, so freaking you have glazed ice that occurred in the telephone poles themselves just being so heavy that it just collapses, creating a barrier in the middle of the road, upending traffic and electricity, along with it being a hazard. And yeah, you have one of the forgot it pylons. But yeah, I'll review this article after I'm done. I want things just to memorize and review. Frozen pine cone. Cotton pine covered in ice, showing the results of a winter ice storm. As you can see, this is very frozen. You can see the little crystals. They look like bubbles inside here, along with the grass itself just having glazed ice around it. Now onto a buildup of ice on a branch after an ice storm. So yeah, tree branch after ice storm. Okay. What's fascinating is that it's not even circling around it. It's just in the bottom, but because of the sunlight coming in and melting away where it directly hits. Directly, not around it, because you need direct rays to actually punch through. And it's still intact, This little bit is still here. You see this little sliver of ice that's just holding on. But what sucks is that when they actually come apart and it might accidentally hit something that might damage it, especially with a human skull. Or worse. Car after an ice storm hit central Iowa in 2007. 2007, that was around 14 years ago. Yeah, I still see these cars. So, but then again, I actually still see cars from the 1920s. So it's literally like 100 years ago, and some car collectors and enthusiasts really like driving them. Yeah, and this is also what happened with freaking cars and how to clean them too. That's not. Well, you also have this which is a weeping willow tree damaged by an ice storm on February 5th, 2014. As you can see, you know, winter ice storms do occur, uh, and you know, uh, around the years. These are just showing notable ice storms, ones that are related to major uh, distressful scenarios that it causes and tragedies. But yeah, what is a weeping willow? Salix babylonica, pardon my Latin, I believe, is a species of willow native to dry areas in northern China, but cultivated for millennia elsewhere in Asia, being traded along the Silk Road to southwest Asia and Europe. And yet it's in what is it, in Iowa? No, this is in Iowa. If this might have occurred in United States, well, that probably explains it. There's freaking bamboo here in the United States, because it just shows that exotic plants can grow here. Even like species to animal, but it becomes very dangerous because they're most likely invasive species that later have issues, like freaking tiger stripe. What was it? No, Asian tiger stripe mosquitoes. Yeah, those are just horrible. I hate them. They should get out of the United States and anywhere else that are just invasive and hurting other life forms, and also just bother me. Ice storm Obreski. Yep, I don't know how to pronounce that. Oh yeah, I was about to say this. A tree threatens a house in Cary, North Carolina, December 5th, 2002. Yeah, all bended and stuff because of the amount of weight, and it could actually collapse, and that's a problem where it might damage. This is a thin tree that the house probably doesn't have to worry, but whenever it hits, yeah, that's something to worry about. But that's pretty much the gallery. Now, lastly, here's just the resources. You'll see also references and external links. So, besides that, let's just go on to the effects, because yeah, glazed ice, that's the thing that's just concerning. Is a smooth, transparent, and homogeneous ice coating occur in the freezing rain or drizzle hits a surface. And the glazed ice is also talked about in freezing rain, I believe. But yeah, that's the damaging thing about them, along with electricity pylons. Freaking, this one shows a pylon being in the ground, and they could be big enough that it can actually hurt people. And yeah, these glazed ice on the poles are damaging power lines, because good old United States has the infrastructure that existed for decades and decades, and there hasn't been any improvement. I mean, let's go with the situation in Texas, where their own power grid, that it's not federal, it's their own state power grid. It doesn't have the best infrastructure, and it has to go with just lack of improvement. But all is not worth, because the infrastructure is also designed for extreme warmth, which, when it comes to dealing with winter, yeah, it was not made for that. But looking at what occurred and these extreme weathers happening around the world, most likely they're going to create an infrastructure to make it more durable and withstand weather stresses in the world. So yeah, but yeah, these are pretty much ice storms, very close to winter storms. It's just a type, and and it's all about freezing rain. So let's go on to freezing rain. That was actually in the resources tab here. Now the sea also. So I'll talk about this briefly. So freezing rain is a name given to the rain maintained by temperatures below freezing by an ambient air mass that causes freezing on contact with surfaces. Unlike a mixture of rain and snow, ice pellets, or hail, freezing rain is made entirely of liquid droplets. The raindrops become super cold while passing through a sub-freezing layer of air hundreds of meters above the ground, and then freeze upon impact with any surface they encounter, including the ground, trees, electrical wires, aircraft, and automobiles. The resulting ice, called glazed ice, can accumulate to a thickness of several centimeters and cover all exposed surfaces. The METAR code for freezing rain is FZRA. What is METAR? Okay, METAR is a format for reporting weather information. The METAR weather report is predominantly used by aircraft pilots, by meteorologists who use aggregated METAR information to assist in weather forecasting. Alright. A storm that precedes. Oh no. A storm that produces a significant thickness of glazed ice from freezing rain is often referred to as an ice storm. Although these storms are not particularly violent, freezing rain is notorious for causing travel problems on roadways, breaking tree limbs, and downing power lines from the weight of accumulating ice. Downed power lines cause power outages in affected areas, while accumulated ice can also pose significant overhead hazards. It is also known for being extremely dangerous to aircraft, since the ice can effectively remold the shape of the airfoil and flight control surfaces. See atmosphere icing. So airfoil, what is that? An airfoil or aerofoil is the cross-section shape of a wing, blade, or sail. Alright, let me briefly go on to the contents. 1. Mechanism. 2. Observations. 3. Effects at a grain level, an aircraft. And 4 through 6 are just resources. So the mechanism. Temperature versus height diagram for different types of precipitation. The red line shows how freezing rain forms from snow through warm layer and into the super cold stage. So you have pretty much the height, snow, sleet, freezing rain, freezing rain, red, snow, dark blue, purplish, sleet, green, and rain, turquoise. So yeah, the height is showing from 3 kilometers through 1 kilometer, along with freaking horizontal bar being -4 through just 4. Too bad they don't have additional information, but yeah, let me understand this. Temperature in Celsius. So yeah, it does show how a particular thing forms. So freaking, let's go with snow, where it's always directly around -4 through -1 Celsius. With sleet, it can go from -2, but go sporadic, change forms. Well, it's super cold. And both freezes, then heats up. So let's go with the rain. Rain itself is always cold in the height of it coming down. However, a cold super cools way much once it touches down around like 5 Celsius. But for freezing rain, it will go down, but once it gets to 1 kilometer or in a certain distance, it will just drastically just freeze up around here, and then we'll try to warm up again, but it will be too late. It will already drop to the ground, which makes it really cold. So around like -3 to -2 Celsius. So yeah, this does show how this occurs. So yeah, now I'm actually understanding it. Woohoo! Freezing rain is often associated with the approach of a warm front when sub-freezing air temperatures at or below freezing is trapped in the lowest levels of atmosphere while warm air advents in aloft. This happens, for instance, when a low-pressure system moves from the Mississippi River Valley towards the Appalachian Mountains and the St. Lawrence River Valley of North America during their cold season. With a strong high-pressure system sitting further east, this setup is known as cold air damming and is characterized by very cold and dry air at the surface within the region of high pressure. The warm air from the Gulf of Mexico is often the field of freezing precipitation. So yeah, I didn't know about how directly the influence of the St. Lawrence River is. But then again, the Mississippi River just overshadows pretty much the United States mainland. Oh yeah. This goes to show how the importance of bodies of water and in high elevated regions, mountains, hills are important into the winds to the airs. You know, that's the reason why the phenomenon of El Nino and La Nina occurs throughout Asia to Oceania to the Caribbean area every year. So the cold air damming. So I don't know about this. So CAD is a meteorological phenomenon that involves high pressure system anticyclone accelerating I'm having a hard time pronouncing this. Equatorward east of north-south oriented mountain range due to the formation of a barrier jet behind a cold front associated with the polar portion. Yeah, this is a bit challenging for me to think about it right now, especially with pulling a bit of pressure with time. Well, I'm only here just to talk briefly about it, so let me skim through this, see if there's anything very noteworthy I could showcase. Alright, yeah. There's pretty much talking about super cold and stuff like that. But something just also to think about is just remember whenever something is 0 Celsius, it is 32 Fahrenheit. There's a conversion on how to do everything. I have trouble doing it every freaking time. But you know, that at least is something you could just remember. 0 Celsius is just 32 Fahrenheit. Observations. This map. Echoes of 1.5 kilometers, 0.993 miles. Attitude of the top with strong contamination from the bright band yellows. The vertical cut at the bottom shows that the strong return is only above ground. Okay, surface observation by manned or automated stations are only direct confirmation of rain, freeze rain or snow on weather radars. Doppler or conventional, however, it is possible to estimate the area covered by freezing rain with radars indirectly. Oh, Doppler, I heard about that, but anywho, let me try to still go around. Yeah, it talks about this, talks about aircrafts. So we already went through here at the galleries and and how this affected on the ground, but let's go with aircrafts. Freezing rain is considered to be an extreme hazard to aircraft. It causes very rapid structural icing. Most helicopters and small airplanes lack the necessary dicing equipment to fly the freezing rain of any intensity. So this is dicing. It's the process of removing snow, ice, or frost from a surface. Anti-icing is understood to be the application of chemicals that is not only de-ice but also remain on the surface and continue to delay the reformation of ice for a certain period of time. Along with that, and so pretty much that's what I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna come back to this article, but next time I'm going to talk about this to finally conclude with Ice Storm. But anywho, we'll see when will be the next time I'll come here. I mean, I am having trouble with doing review caps for one of the channels I have, and you know, since now there's actually a more troubling thing with freaking power going out with freaking an entire region where I live instead of just a few places, then yeah, we'll see next time. Besides that, well, take care of yourselves, stay warm, and so long.